evening and welcome to NewsCenter at 9:30. I'm Josh Woodsman. Amy Barnett has the night off. American Taliban soldier John Walker appeared in federal court today. It's tonight's top story. A clean-shaven John Walker told a federal judge that he understands the charges he faces. Walker is charged with conspiracy to kill Americans abroad and providing material support to terrorist organizations, including Al-Qaeda. The young American is being held at an Alexandria, Virginia detention center until his preliminary hearing, which is set for February 6th. Prosecutors will use the time until the hearing to seek a grand jury indictment. Two members of Indiana's congressional delegation plan to head to Cuba tomorrow. Republicans Steve Buyer and Brian Kearns are making a one-day trip to review the conditions at the U.S. naval base at Guantanamo Bay. The facilities have become a holding place for those detained in the Afghan war. In Washington, President Bush brushed aside an international outcry over treatment of the detainees. He told legislators they should be proud of how detainees are being treated. All the prisoners are suspected terrorists who fought for Al-Qaeda or the ousted Afghan Taliban regime. A U.S. Special Forces soldier has been wounded in Afghanistan, the result of a firefight. It happened about 40 miles north of Kandahar during a search of two suspected Taliban and Al-Qaeda compounds. The U.S. military says the soldier's wounds are not life-threatening. During the skirmish, U.S. troops killed enemy forces and captured 27 others, now in detention in Kandahar. Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld says Special Forces troops have been searching caves in recent days, hoping to find pockets of Taliban and Al-Qaeda resistance.
There are a lot more of these pockets. We are going to pursue them. We are pursuing them now. We pursue them alone. We pursue them with coalition forces. We pursue them with Afghan forces. And we're going to keep at them until we get them.
American warplanes continue to fly the skies over Afghanistan, looking for targets of opportunity on the ground. Just a few short months ago, Enron employees were being assured to keep buying stock in the company because, according to the company chairman, everything was okay. However, last month, 4,000 Enron employees lost their jobs and their investments. And just last night, company chairman Ken Lay resigned. CNN's Ed Lavandera has more.
Most Enron employees we've had a chance to speak with today say they are not surprised by Ken Lay's resignation. In an email to his employees, Mr. Lay says that he truly believes Enron will survive. He also goes on to say that unfortunately, with multiple inquiries and investigations that require my immediate attention at this time, I am unable to fully concentrate on what is most important to Enron's stakeholders. Now, a lot of the people we spoke with say they are exhausted by all of the news that has come out about their company over the last 2.5 months, and they can't wait to get all of this behind them.
You know, for him, it's probably good. He can probably concentrate better on what he needs to. And hopefully, you know, the company can turn around for the better.
I got an email late last night, so I found out that way. But it's interesting news, everything that we're finding out, you know, it's just something one after another, you know, and it's been interesting working here.
Ken Lay is still on the board of directors at Enron, but that board is now looking for an interim chief executive that will lead the company through the reorganization process. And that is something that a lot of employees are not necessarily looking forward to. I'm Ed Lavandera in Houston for CNN.
The bankruptcy of U.S. discount retailer Kmart is already taking a toll on American firms. Companies from Gillette to Sara Lee say their financial results could be hurt because Kmart owes them money. But the discount store's troubles are having rippling effects in Asia, where suppliers are scrambling to halt shipments, demand upfront cash payments, and tally up the damage to their bottom lines. Lisa Barron has the story.
Hong Kong Christmas tree maker Boto depends on U.S. discount retailer Kmart for a quarter of its sales. Boto shares initially fell nearly 5% on the news of Kmart's bankruptcy. Boto is hardly unique in its vulnerability to Kmart's troubles. Suppliers throughout the territory are weighing the consequences for their own business.
Of course, there will be an increase in risk for payment delay or things like that. The problem is here is there will be a continued concentration of buyers in major overseas market. And it means that the buyer's bargaining power will strengthen as a result. And that will change quite a lot on what we say, the supplier and buyer's relationship.
American retailers are critical to Asian manufacturers of everything from textiles to toys. Exports to the U.S. from Hong Kong alone, mostly made in China, totaled more than $30 billion last year. That means big business and potentially big losses for the Hong Kong shipping lines which transport the products. Carriers say more than 80% of the cargo shipped from southern China is contracted on a free on-board basis, meaning the buyer pays for transport costs at the destination.
That means most of the payments have to be done in the United States. So if the major accounts have financial problems, ocean carriers will worry about the payments, will get losses. We lost thousands of dollars of ocean freights. So that's the worry.
The ultimate worry, how much longer can the fragile U.S. economy continue to prop up the greater China export engine? Lisa Barron, CNN, Hong Kong.
Ryan Miller joins us with weather. I tell you what, Ryan, I keep hearing that we're going to get 50-degree temperatures out there, and I walk in tonight and it's cold. I need to break out the gloves again.
Well, you know, it is going to get a little bit warmer over the next couple days, but tonight it's going to be really cold out there. Clear and cool, a low of 26 degrees. How warm is it going to get for this weekend? I'll let you know a little bit later on.
All right, thanks, Ryan. From our partners at the Ball State Daily News, here's tomorrow's headlines tonight. Learn all about the art of how to get a job in hard times. Plus, Ball State's assistant provost has his eye on his boss's job. And finally, the U.S. Senate is looking into how conflicts of interest affect the country. For those stories and more, pick up tomorrow's edition of the Ball State Daily News. Well, after nearly 12 years of planning, building, and then rebuilding, Ball State's Schafer Bell Tower is finally finished. Today, we got a tour of what it looks like on the inside.
This is the clavalier. This is actually the, if you want to call it, the keyboard that would play the bells. There's actually two ways that the bells are played. One is electronically, and there's a control for that over in the music building. Or you can actually come up here and physically, you know, pull these levers and so forth and play the instruments. That's what all these cables are that you see up here.
The 48 Carillon bells came from France earlier this year. They'll soon be ringing on the hour and at special events like Cardinal basketball games. According to a Ball State University educator, the new monetary currency for Europe should make it a stronger player in the world markets. The euro became the official currency for about 300 million residents in 12 countries 1 month ago. BSU professor Roy Doyen says the single currency is a major step forward in unifying Europe. The European countries included could expand by 30 to 35 nations in the next 20 years, making the euro the currency of choice for nearly 500 million people. But Doyen believes it may take 10 to 15 years before the euro challenges the American dollar as the world's most important currency. Hoosier motorists may be able to step a little harder on the gas pedal next year. A House committee approved a bill on Wednesday to increase the legal speed limit from 55 to 60 miles per hour on the highways and from 65 to 70 miles per hour on interstates. House Bill 1308 still faces numerous roadblocks. Indiana is one of 6 states that haven't adjusted speed limits since Congress lifted a mandate 21 years ago. David Wolkins says the bill's sponsor says Indiana needs to implement a sensible speed limit. 2 vacuum cleaner companies are trying to challenge Indiana's new no-call list law. Evansville-based Steve Martin and Associates and Aimco Associates are challenging the law in Vanderburgh County Court. They contend the law unfairly hurts small businesses because it prevents them from recruiting new customers through current customer referrals. Indiana Attorney General Steve Carter has no sympathy for the companies and says he will fight to keep the new law in place. More than 780,000 Hoosiers have signed up for the no-call list. A Northwest Airlines plane is forced to make an emergency evacuation at Indianapolis International Airport. Authorities say the DC-9 plane was taxiing on the runway when the crew noticed a fire in one of the engines. One person was slightly injured when the 70 passengers and 5 crew members were being evacuated from the plane. The Detroit-bound passengers were rebooked on the next available flight. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Well, a call into a Columbus, Ohio radio show lands a man in jail. Robert Hedrick called the Columbus radio station and told the DJ he was on a plane bound for the city and that he had a knife on board. He said the knife was hidden in his belt when he passed through airport security in North Carolina. Hedrick was arrested and charged with carrying a concealed weapon when his plane landed in Columbus. At the time of his arrest, Hedrick was carrying a hunting knife with a 3.5-inch blade. His bond is set for $500,000. Some Pennsylvania kids got an unexpected tour of Maryland today. Find out why. And some good economic news from Alan Greenspan today. We'll have the details next when NewsCenter at 9:30 continues. A school bus driver is behind bars tonight as a result of a bizarre incident today. The driver, along with his 13 passengers, were supposed to arrive at Burke's Christian School in Birdsboro, Pennsylvania, around 9 this morning. However, the driver, 64-year-old Otto Noss, drove the kids 140 miles away to suburban Washington, D.C. A police officer spotted the bus near a FedEx field and became suspicious when he saw the children waving their arms outside the window. The driver gave up without a struggle. Authorities are still trying to determine a motive. Some positive economic news today from Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan. Greenspan told a Senate panel he's been seen encouraging signs recently that we're in the midst of a turnaround and the recession could soon end. Analysts say the comments mean an interest rate cut this month is highly unlikely. U.S. and Canadian customs officials met in Florida today. They're taking a look at all the latest high-tech tools to help keep terrorists and drug dealers from crossing their borders. Joan Murray reports.
A high-tech portable X-ray machine scans a trailer of freight. Inside, customs workers check for anything that may look out of place.
Primarily the team that I run, the anti-narcotics team here in Fort Lauderdale, we're looking for drugs. But now with the new emphasis on terrorism, we're using the same tools that we used for narcotics for anti-terrorism.
With that in mind, U.S. Customs commissioners, along with their Canadian counterparts, are getting an up-close view of the latest cargo inspection technology.
Since 9/11, we've been addressing border security and how we can improve border security and improve targeting of items that might come in and threaten Americans.
The links between Canada and the U.S. are deep. The common border stretches over 5,000 miles of land. Last December, a smart border agreement was signed between the U.S. and Canada. This meeting is another step to enhance monitoring techniques at the ports of entry.
In the last Canadian budget, there was a major additional resources for security of $7 billion over the next 4 years. We have about $600 million Canadian in additional resources. $100 million of that is going to be for technology. So we want to strengthen the application of this VACUS equipment, particularly at our seaports and elsewhere.
Ryan joins us with a look at that weather. Some frigid temperatures tonight, but maybe a warm-up.
Yes, we'll have a look at that warm-up coming up next. Well, good evening and welcome back to NewsCenter 43. It's almost like we had two seasons out there today. High of 52. That was in the morning hour zone. We pretty quickly cooled off as it got towards the noon hour, coming in with a low of 34. Still well above our normal low of 16, though. Here's some of the highs around the state. Muncie and Indianapolis, like I said, came in with a common 52. South Bend, the cold spot in the state today with 37, and Evansville coming in at 55. Terre Haute at 51. Fort Wayne up there at 49. Currently here in Muncie, we've got clear skies out there, sitting right there at freezing, 32 degrees, humidity hanging in there at 79%. Here's a look at the national satellite, very clear across most of the central part of the country. That's what's going to be affecting us overnight tonight and even into tomorrow. In fact, here, let's go ahead and zoom in on Indiana. See, there's nothing over Muncie. That's exactly how it's going to be for the rest of the night tonight. Should be great. Just some rain down here to our very south, affecting Mississippi, Alabama, and some of those other southern states. That's not going to hit us at all. Here's what we should be seeing for tonight. This rain down here is going to stay down there. This dome of high pressure right here, though, is going to be affecting us over the next couple of days. Here's lows around the nation tonight. 20s mainly for actually most of the nation. Some 30s to our south. And tonight, look to have very clear skies out there, a low of 26 degrees with wind out of the west at 8 miles an hour. Tomorrow morning when you get up for that class, should be bright and sunny. Temperature 27 degrees, wind again out of the southwest at 8 miles an hour. Tomorrow, look for lots and lots of sun. As a matter of fact, this should be warm too. It should be great out there. Here's for Indiana, some 40s for all of Indiana, some 50s for most of the country, and some 20s up there in the UP of Michigan. Tomorrow, 46 degrees, sunny all day long, not a cloud to be seen, high, or southwest wind of 13. And here's a look at the 3-day forecast, guys. Should be sunny every day, pretty much highs in the mid to upper 50s. However, we could see some rain coming in by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
Well, if we're getting up into the 50s, I'm going to retire the gloves.
Go for it.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Jake Johnson joins us with a look at sports. Jake, great men's basketball game last night.
The Ball State Cardinals played a great game last night, and I'll tell you about it right after this break. The Ball State men's basketball team took a 5-game winning streak into Worthing Arena last night against MAC foe Western Michigan. The Cards lit up the Broncos with an outstanding performance by Lonnie Jones. Jones ended the game with 10 points and 4 blocks. Cards sensation Theron Smith had 13 points and 10 rebounds to add to his 6th straight double-double this season, followed by P.D. Jackson's 12 points. The Cardinals have had the problem of starting off slow this season, but last night they ended that curse by jumping out to an 8-point lead in only 6 minutes. The Cards stomped the Broncos 74-61. They traveled to Ohio on Saturday to take on Miami in hopes of keeping the streak alive. And the injury bug has bitten the Indiana Pacers yet again. This time it bit hard, with the loss of 6-man Al Harrington. With the season half over, the forward will miss the playoff stretch run with a torn ACL. The injury occurred during Wednesday night's loss to Boston. Harrington was off to his best start in his young 4-year career and was a likely candidate for the 6th-man award. With the Winter Olympics coming up in February, the U.S. is having difficulty in the speed skating event. 3 skaters testified against fellow skater Apollo Anton Ono this week, saying that he conspired with a teammate to influence the outcome of the Olympic trials. A hearing was held this week to connect the accusation put forth by former teammate Tommy O'Hare, who didn't qualify for the U.S. team because of the race results. And let's talk football. Wednesday, the search for a new coach officially ended in Indianapolis. Tony Dungy signed a 5-year contract worth $13 million. Colts president Bill Polian decided to make the move based on Dungy's defense prowess. The Colts allowed a miserable league-worst 486 points last season. In 6 years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Dungy led the team to 4 playoff berths and turned the defense from a laughingstock into one of the most feared defenses in the league. Dungy replaces Mora, who was fired after 4 years as head coach of the Colts. With the expansion draft coming up, each NFL team must put 5 players on the draft list. The Colts list was announced today by President Bill Polian. Among the 5 veteran players is tight end Ken Dilger, cornerback Jeff Burris, and safety Chad Cota. Dilger has been with the Colts for the past 7 years and was selected to the Pro Bowl this season. But Polian says these players were put into the draft as part of an effort to clear the salary cap space. Each team is only allowed to lose 2 players in the draft on February 18th. And the NFL playoffs continue this weekend with the division championship games to decide who will get that trip to New Orleans for the Super Bowl next week. First, on Sunday's docket will be the Patriots visiting the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Running back Jerome Bettis will finally start for the Steelers after yet another injury setback last week involving an allergic reaction to painkillers before the game. Kickoff will be at Heinz Field at 12:30 on CBS. The NFC champion will be decided later on Sunday afternoon. Explosive quarterback Donovan McNabb and the Philadelphia Eagles visit the seemingly unstoppable St. Louis Rams in St. Louis. Kurt Warner will be the X factor for the Rams. This year's league MVP will be dealing with a plethora of injuries, ranging from a nagging thumb to bruised vocal cords. And you can catch that game at 4:15 on the Fox network. We have a lot of football coming up this weekend. Super Bowl coming up. It's going to be a great game. We have 4 teams left, so...
Tell you what, good to hear about the Colts. Maybe we'll get a turnaround next season.
Hopefully.
All right, thanks, Jake. Ryan Miller will be in next with another peek at your weekend forecast. Stay with us. Ryan Miller joining us with a look at that forecast. Some warmer temperatures around the corner. Luckily, we're not talking snow. I mean, it being the end of January, so.
You know, so far, no snow, no rain this weekend. It should be absolutely, positively great. Let's go and start off with tonight, though. Tonight looked to be clear, a low of 26 degrees. Kind of cold out there, so take a jacket if you're headed out. Tomorrow morning, though, should be bright and sunny and just all around beautiful. Just a couple clouds out there. Temperature of 27 degrees. Tomorrow, look for all those clouds to go away, though. A high of 46 degrees with a southwest wind out of the southwest, obviously, at 13 miles an hour. And for that 3-day forecast, it looks like we're going to have some sun every day. Highs somewhere in the mid to upper 50s, but on Tuesday and Wednesday, we could see some rain.
Well, at least it's not snow. I mean,
it's not snow.
We're lucky. We're really lucky for this time in January, I think.
Yes, definitely. And it doesn't look like there's going to be a cold snap anytime soon.
Okay. Good news, Ryan. And finally tonight, Drew Carey has beaten Oprah Winfrey in a popularity contest. Carey tops the latest Harris poll showing the most popular personalities on TV. Carey had been on top 2 years ago, but lost to Winfrey last year. Winfrey falls to third, right behind Regis Philbin. David Letterman, a Ball State grad, moves up a couple of notches to fourth place. Ray Romano is fifth, rounding out the top 10 are Jay Leno, Bill O'Reilly, Kelsey Grammer, Katie Couric, and Rosie O'Donnell. Where is my name on there? You know what I'm saying?
Give it a couple years, Josh.
Give it a couple years. All right. Well, thanks for joining us for NewsCenter at 9:30. I'm Josh Witzman. NewsCenter 43 is an official CNN student bureau. Be sure to tune in Monday for NewsCenter at 5:30. Have a great weekend.